anybody ever seen that in their whole life? It's a sunset rainbow. What the heck? What? It's an anomaly. It's a psychedelic anomaly. There's a sunset rainbow behind me. Can you guys see that? It's a sunset rainbow. I have never ever seen one in my whole life. Alright, so what I've got here is I've got a 16 rucksack, I got the 20-liter core, I got the 30-liter curve, I got an SUL version of the curve with no front or side pockets, and I've got the curve 35, okay? What I want to talk to you about for a second is just geometry and bells and whistles. So right off the bat, you know, got the front pocket and the side pockets on the curve 35. And for me, this will be like a long distance major adventure pack. Like if I'm quitting my job and going hiking for 6 months, I'll carry it in here. And to be honest with you, I live in the woods and I go for a lot of weekend hikes, overnighters and whatnot. And there's just some bells and whistles on here that I just end up not using. The one thing that I do want is I want some kind of external pocket that allows for some things to be easy access, kind of like a fanny pack. And I've got that with the bottom pocket. I really like the bottom pocket on the 35. The Curve 35 bottom pocket is huge. It fits like 2 bots plus some other stuff probably, so you know that's pretty big. This one on the 30 is slightly smaller, but it will suffice. You know, just like a fanny pack, it pretty much has a similar volume. If I've got wet socks or a wet tarp, it can go in here. Or if I've got some snacks that I just, you know, if I've got a cooking system and I don't want to go into my pack to get the cooking system, I can put it here. Also, the Curve has got a thicker DCF on the bottom panel, and so if I've got boiling hot water in my food, I can store those packs of food in the bottom pocket, and that boiling hot water won't damage my DCF because I've got it in the bottom pocket. Okay, so wet socks, wet shirts, boiling hot water, anything like that can go into the bottom pocket. Okay. LiteAF hooked me up with these shoulder strap pockets, and so my wallet or iPhone, etc., can go in here too. Water obviously also can go in there. Now the side pockets, obviously when you put a water bottle into your side pocket, it's less distracting. You know, it's out of sight, out of mind. You don't see it there, and it's easier to hike. You know, when you've got your water bottles on your front pockets, especially when they're empty, first of all, it's not really stealthy. People can kind of tell that you're up to something. People can tell that you're going to be out for the weekend. And they're also kind of like in your face. So as you're hiking, you've got this gear that's kind of like right here. When you put it into the side pockets, it's out of sight, out of mind. But, you know, in the end, there are some disadvantages to putting your water bottles in the side pocket. They could pop out. If they drop out, you won't know because you're not looking at them. Also, having side pockets causes the dimensions of the pack to be wider. It's more obvious that you're camping when you've got a bigger pack, and the side pockets stick out to the sides, and you just look bigger and look wider. And it's more obvious that you're camping when you've got a big pack like this. Now that could be an issue. Some people will ask you what you're doing. As far as the Hike-a-delic, there are some old school people who just automatically think that if you're wearing tie-dye, you're up to no good. So You know, some people, they look at this tie-dye and they just think it's fun. There are some people out there who just are from the 60s or whatever. They're a cowboy, and they, as soon as they see the tie-dye, they figure you've got something on you, or you're up to something, you're doing something wrong, or you're partying too much or whatever.
What's up, LiteAF? Got your Hike-a-delic sunset rainbow here.
Just talking about size, yeah. So I'm 200 to 250 pounds and a little bit more than 6 foot. But you know, pack companies, they have a tendency to build their packs kind of big for big guys, and the large is a little bit too big for me. So when I ordered my second pack, the 30, LiteAF automatically just signed me up for the medium. Now the medium has got you know, slightly smaller shoulder straps, obviously, but they're still wide and stable. But the other thing is just when you pack a frameless pack together and you hang it on your shoulders, there's going to be a slight bit of space at the top in between your back and the back panel. So this back panel is going to hang away from your shoulders slightly at the top. The bigger your pack is, the more space is going to be there. Now, as air flows in and out of there, it's going to be more comfortable because it's going to be cooler, but you know, when you're carrying it, when you have a heavy carry, you want that heavy carry to be close to your shoulders. Now, with a traditional pack, you would have a lid, you would put your heavy items in your lid, you'd have load lifters, you would pull that heavy load to the shoulder strap here and pull that heavy load toward the back of your head and kind of minimize this space and get it tight against your shoulders. With a frameless pack, you're dealing with like 10 pounds or less in carry. You're carrying a pretty light load. And as a result, it doesn't really matter. It's not essential as to where you put your heavy items, and they might just go better lower. With the larger 35, there's a bigger gap here in between the back panel and my shoulders. Okay, so right here, air can flow in and out of here because the pack is kind of hanging away from my shoulders a little. Now, if I add a Gossamer Gear sleep mat, or if I add a sit pad from the Trek or Z-Packs, that's going to fill up that space. So the larger your geometry, the more it lends itself to adding a sit pad to your back panel. The smaller the geometry, the more the pack rides as intended, and the more a sit pad is going to alter that geometry and make the carry less comfortable. So like with this small core, which is this is kind of the same pack but just way smaller, a sit pad alters the geometry of the pack so that the pack doesn't ride as intended, and the pack actually carries more comfortable without the sit pad. So just the back panel against my back feels comfortable with this pack, but as you size up, that lends itself to the opportunity to attach exterior sit pads to the back panel. Now, with my 30, I didn't get that option. There is no way to add a sit pad, but there's a reason for that. You know, when I build a campfire, when I get to camp, the sparks from the campfire put holes in all of my gear. All of it gets little holes in it from the sparks from the campfire. So if I just keep all my gear in my pack and just sit on it, that, you know, if I don't bring the sit pad, that reminds me to sit on my pack. So yeah, the DCF with the polyester hybrid, this 2.8 ounce DCF, it's more durable and it's more resistant to sparks than the rest of my gear. So if I just sit on this and sit by my campfire while I'm sitting on my pack with all of my gear still in the pack, that's going to protect my gear from the sparks. And then once the fire burns down, you know, I can set up camp in the dark. Now you might say, well, why set up a campfire? The campfire sucks the moisture out of the campsite, and you know, H2O cools off anything. You know, just the way things heat up is the molecules vibrate, and the molecules vibrate less in H2O. The H2O prevents the molecules from vibrating and keeps everything cool, but that's not really good for sleep, because when you go to sleep you want to be warm. So when you burn your campfire, that's sucking the H2O out of the dirt in your campsite and causing the dirt to be drier and warmer. So even after your fire burns down into coals, if you set up camp near that fire, the dirt is going to be warmer and you're going to sleep better anyway. So by not carrying the sit pad, that reminds me to just sit on my pack and not pull my gear out until I'm ready to go to bed after my fire has burned down. Now if you put your cook system and stuff into the top of your pack, or wherever you put it, it's important not to sit on that. I broke the piezo igniter on my Soda Windmaster by sitting on it. So, you know, if you've got your shelter or your insulation at the bottom of the pack and your ditties at the top, you want to sit on the insulation, not the ditties, you know. As far as like the front pocket, you know, the front pocket would be where I would put wet stuff, like a wet shelter. I don't have a shelter, so I don't have a condensation machine shelter. So I have no reason to put, you know, a shelter in here. So I just don't have it. If I have a tarp and my tarp gets wet, I can just stick the tarp in here. Normally I would stick my food in here, but obviously I would just make that choice. If I had a wet tarp, I would take the food, put it in the top. You know, I could put a few snacks in here, and put the wet tarp in the bottom pocket instead of the food. I also asked them not to tape the seams, and that's something that I learned from the MLD Corps. So as I'm hiking, my body heat in the sun warms up what's in here, and condensation takes place inside of the pack. The pack kind of turns into a rainforest, and the moisture that's in here turns into fog, and the fog can escape out of the seams. Now, with this one, I've got taped seams. So this will be good for doing like a river crossing or hiking in a torrential downpour, or leaving my pack out in a puddle, or pack rafting, because it's completely waterproof. Whereas this one, it doesn't have taped seams, so it's got like a pack cover on it. It's got like a rain cover on it. It's completely waterproof, but rain could get in at the seam. But rain can escape out of the seams exactly the same way that it gets in. So as my body heat from my back heats up the inside of the pack, plus the sunshine, the inside of the pack turns into a rainforest. Moisture takes place inside of the pack, but those molecules of fog are able to escape out of the seams. So just like the water could get in through the seams, the water is also able to get out through the seams. So when I go cowboy camping, some condensation is in my dry down. So in the morning when I wake up, I'm outside, I've got a nice warm sleeping bag on me, but there is some moisture inside of that dry down. It's not enough moisture to cause the sleeping bag to feel cool. The sleeping bag feels warm, but there is some moisture in there. When I first put the sleeping bag into my pack, the pack carries a little heavy in the morning. But as I warm up the pack with my body heat and I'm hiking throughout the day, condensation takes place and the moisture that's in my sleep system turns into fog and it starts coming out. If I have taped seams, that moisture will get trapped inside of the pack and it'll cause my stuff sacks to get all kind of wet. But if I've got untaped seams, if there's no tape on these seams and the fog can escape out of here, the fog will actually come out of there and my pack will carry lighter and lighter and lighter throughout the day. Also, just gravity will cause my gear to compress as I'm hiking, and the pack will take on more of a natural shape and turn more rectangle and less tubular as I hike, you know. But also, the smaller geometry packs, the more bullet-sized packs, they don't sit flat against your back. So like with this little 16, you know, it turns into a tube, and you've got kind of lots of airflow on the sides of your back, so your back really doesn't get heavy. So the bigger your back panel is, the more surface area your pack covers on your back and the warmer your back is. You know, I mean, this pack is kind of laying flat on your whole back and your back is getting hot. Whereas the smaller bullet-shaped packs, there's more space on the side of your back for more air and ventilation, and your elbows also can move easier, and you've got just more maneuverability. It's just easier to get around. So I think that this 30 pack, the Hike-a-delic, it kind of hits a sweet spot where it's got plenty of maneuverability. It does have some options to put stuff on the outside of the pack. It's got the shoulder straps, it's got the bottom pocket. And it's also pretty small. It's big. You know, if you look at this 20, the one issue here is that there's kind of like a limit to how much you can put in here. If you want to carry an extra change of clothes, or, you know, anything at all, any extra gear items that you want to bring, pajamas or beer or extra food or anything, eventually it's just not going to fit in here. This one, the 30, it obviously has that extra volume where you can just kind of keep throwing stuff into the top and just get it rolled shut now. Without a top strap or Y strap, any kind of bear canister strap, the way that I get this dialed in is I roll it up, okay, I clip it together, All right, now, when I'm bushwhacking and I'm going underneath trees, a tree can catch on this and kind of pull back on my neck like that. So the way that I alleviate that issue is I clip these under the straps like this. Okay? Just like that. And it kind of takes upon this like scarab shape, just kind of like a turtle shape, where it's got a nice dialed in top. The weight at the top of the pack is pulled in towards my shoulders. It kind of acts as a load lifter a little. It causes the shoulder straps to come together slightly, and the closer your shoulder straps are together, the easier the carry. And so, yeah, it just works in and dials in the pack just nice so that it's an easy carry. Yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, I like it. It's fun. This is a good pack. I'm pretty stoked.